Hi, everybody. I wasn't sure the best way to get you to read something. So, what I've decided to do is actually read it to you. And you have the document on your computer so you can follow along. Make sure that you answer these ed puzzle questions as you're following along. So, here we go. The topic that we're talking about today is the Neolithic Revolution. The Neolithic Revolution is transitioning us from the phase that we've been talking about in history class, and I haven't used this term yet, so don't worry if you don't know it. The phrase is their term is called the Paleolithic era. The Paleolithic era is the time period in which people were wandering around, nomadic, wandering from place to place in search of food. We are now becoming the Neolithic era, otherwise known as the New Stone Age. It's the time where we are going to start to be stationary creatures who are setting up civilization. And this class is called Ancient Civilizations. So from this point forward, then, we are looking at the building blocks of civilization, and we are looking at all of the different civilizations that come about because those building blocks are created. So here we go. I am going to read a reading to you. I hope that you can read the reading with me as well. So it's called The Neolithic Revolution, Food and Water, and it's by Adam Feinberg. So it says, when I start teaching global history and geography, the course begins with the Neolithic Revolution. Here's a pretty straightforward definition of the Neolithic Revolution: when humans began to shift from hunter-gatherers to agricultural and pastoral settlers. Are you asleep yet? I got so bored writing that sentence that I almost fell asleep. Hopefully, you're not sleeping yet. You, as students, also might find this boring, but here is my attempt to explain the Neolithic Revolution in the most interesting way. First, what does this definition above mean? It means that humans stopped finding food and started making food. It's pretty simple, but let's look at how this happened. Millions of years ago, humans were more like animals. We were hairy, sweaty, smelly beasts that basically just ate, pooped, burped, and farted. It might sound like some people you know at home, I'm not sure. But evolution changed us. Evolution means when organisms adapt to changes in the environment over thousands of years, just like when animals go extinct or how plants and animals get bigger or smaller over time. Did you know that dragonflies used to be as big as birds when dinosaurs lived? The changes in the environment that caused this were called ice ages, which means that very slowly over hundreds of years, the earth gets colder. And as it gets colder, animals have to move around and search for food. Humans would also move around because they followed the animals for food. We would sometimes hunt these wild animals, but mostly we ate wild plants that we gathered. Why did we eat mostly plants? Because plants don't run away or fight back when you try to kill them. But if they did fight back, we'd probably have some hero played by The Rock or Mark Wahlberg or Jason Statham to take those suckers down. Some humans stayed in areas where there was enough food, but others left if there wasn't enough food or if they were tired of their parents yelling at them all day. Where did they go? And how do we know? Wherever humans went, they died. If we dig these bones up, we can figure out how old they are based on radiocarbon dating. Radiocarbon dating, guys, is the method in which carbon inside something that was once living but is now dead. It's the method in measuring how much carbon is left in something that was once living but is now dead, because everybody loses carbon at the same rate once you die. So that's how they can determine how old something that's like a fossil is. We have found human remains everywhere, but some are older than others. The oldest ones are in Africa. I know, your mind is blown, but not if you're a Mrs. Hines student, because you already knew this. So by 10,000 BCE, humans were everywhere. By the way, BCE stands for before the Common Era. The year zero starts as the Common Era, CE. So by 10,000 BCE, humans were everywhere. How did they get there? During the Ice Age, the Earth was colder and the water at the top of the Earth was frozen. Frozen water takes up more volume than liquid water, so there was more water at the top and bottom of the Earth, the North and South poles, and less in the middle areas, the oceans. Since the oceans were lower, many of the islands we see today were not separated from the mainland by water. The last ice age began around 10,500 BCE, and when it ended, it caused a revolution. Humans traveled and lived in the areas with the tastiest food that gave us the most energy. In flat, low areas near rivers, the earth produced the best grains to eat, like wheat, rice, and barley, and had fruits and vegetables growing, so there were also good animals to hunt. However, in one area called the Fertile Crescent, which is in Mesopotamia in the Middle East by the Tigris and Euphrates River, and the Nile River Valley, which is in North Africa, there was lots of different varieties of the same plants. Humans could choose the best kinds of wheat, barley, fruit, and vegetables to eat. So, by the way, the Fertile Crescent and the Nile River Valley, because you're doing this ed puzzle, those are two highly fertile areas of the world, which means the soil is really good at growing crops or reproducing. All right. But around 9000 BCE, suddenly the Earth's temperature rose and ended the last ice age, and many of these areas were flooded. The plants were slowly being destroyed. What could we do? We had to save the plants, but how? Vin Diesel wasn't even born yet. Neither was Will Smith, Jackie Chan, Matt Damon, Samuel L. Jackson, Daniel Craig. We had no heroes. It was time for regular people to step up and save the world. And they did. The people in the Fertile Crescent started saving their seeds from the wild animals and bringing them to higher ground where the water didn't flood. They cleared all of the wild plants out of the high ground and planted the seeds from their favorite wild plants. And they grew. They also saw the animals leaving, but since they had already built homes and decided to stay, they had to keep the animals. Again, nobody knows where they got the idea from, but they captured wild animals that were easy to catch, like horses, cattle, boars, and sheep. And, well, a few months later, bam, baby animals. You know how that happens. And if these animals are raised around humans, they don't need to find food or learn survival skills, so they don't know where to live in the wild anymore. They're domesticated, which means when something exists where you live and depends on you as humans for its existence. And now humans could make as many plants and animals as they wanted. We, 1, cleared the land. 2, plant the seeds. 3, let the animals eat all the weeds you pull up. 4, let the animal poop in the field. It's fertilizer. It helps the plants grow bigger. Trust me. 5, when the plants are big enough, cut the good parts off. 6, let the animals eat the stumps. 7, animals poop in the field. Seriously, it's okay. We aren't actually eating poop. And then you have tons of food to store in case there's not enough later on. This is agriculture or farming. The humans in the Fertile Crescent had more than enough food. This is called surplus agriculture. And some of them started leaving again. You know, parents were on their backs about everything, and they brought their seeds, animals, and knowledge of farming with them. Wherever these humans went, they told others about agriculture. So more and more humans started to know how to farm successfully. And that, my friends, is the Neolithic Revolution. Most humans did not rely on hunting or gathering anymore, although a lot still hunted because some animals are hard to domesticate, especially fish, and settled down in villages that grew food. The better they got at farming, the more people they could support. So humans had more babies and bigger villages became the first cities. But that's a story for another day.